We've had quite a week this week. We had 2 or 3 days of high winds and swirling snow, and then for the last 4 days we haven't had any power. And it's kind of put me in this sort of survival mode. Like, we have wood stoves, but that they only heat the communal area up. They don't heat the bathroom and the bedrooms. And we have cooking, camping cook stoves. And, so we can survive. We have a generator that can run our freezer and our pump house. So, I know we're going to live. I'm not worried about that. And I know we can stay warm. We have lots of blankets but it shifted me into this kind of constricted space, and I really felt it. The generator can only run part of the house lights, so most of the house is dark, and just feeling that darkness and kind of moving through it, and I found myself getting more and more restricted in what I normally would do. And I had a charged computer. We have a battery, a solar battery that's charged and full, and so I could use my computer, and I basically could do all of the things that I normally do. But I found myself getting more and more not interested or not able to emotionally, more overwhelmed with the cold, and really focusing on the fact that I need to keep putting wood on the fire. And our cooking situation, we have this table, so I have to take things from the kitchen to the cooktop and, cook on this short camping table. And that, was fine. It was, it was kind of novel when we first started. It was kind of like, oh yeah, this is kind of fun. It's like we're camping. And but then after 2 days, I started, last night for dinner, we had the emergency food that we have for the big earthquake that's supposed to happen, like the survival food. That's what we had for dinner. And, I still have all of the equipment and all of the ability to do the things that I normally do. But I found myself less and less able to or interested in doing so. And then we were able to go snowshoeing, which is one of my husband's and it's our favorite winter sport for sure. But normally we have to drive a long way, and we haven't done it in years because it seemed like so much work to find a trail that had snow. That wasn't, a lot of times you could just walk in your boots and you don't even need snowshoes. And our forest here normally doesn't get any snow. The treetops the canopy's so thick that we don't ever get snow. And but it was windy. It was so windy that the treetops were blowing, and all the snow was able to come down in. And we have, a good 8-9 inches of snow on the ground here. And so my husband Jim and I got to go snowshoeing yesterday, and it just made me so happy and so alive. And I felt so much more ready to get back to work. Today was our first work day. We had off Monday because it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And so, I just found that energy fed me. And I think that whenever we're in survival mode, whether it's, physically around me what's surviving, but also that emotional, where things are so overwhelming and you can barely get through the day, and it's hard to reach out to friends and family to ask for assistance. And even in those times, what I have found is that if I do the smallest thing that brings me joy, and I'm not talking about, watching videos on YouTube or, something that's not really, doesn't feed your soul, that creative energy moving through you, even if it's a tiny little thing. The other day, yesterday, I had one of my favorite sweaters had holes in both of the elbows. And I got, I had time. I didn't know I couldn't go outside and work in the forest. So what do you do? And I sewing the little patches on. I got this beautiful velvet, and I was able to put patches on my elbows. Just brought me such joy. And I think that anything that brings you joy that you can do, even if it's a tiny little step, can really help to relieve that, to lighten that load, to brighten your day and your experience. And find something. If you're finding yourself in that survival mode, in that mode that you can't focus on anything else, and that creative flow feels totally blocked, there's always going to be something that you can do from where you are with what's around you. There's always going to be something. And to just ask yourself, what is it that I can do? What can I do with where I am right now that can lighten that, can fill me with a sense of joy that I enjoy doing? Maybe it's writing, maybe it's drawing, whatever that is that feeds that creative space in you. When you're feeling those feelings of overwhelm and survival mode, I really invite you to try to tap into that and just take the littlest step, and you will find that it releases such energy that you can then take the next step. Blessings.